We're shifting the workflow's grand design, leaving old school limits far behind. Forge deeper human connection, a synergy of new direction.
Let's build something brilliant together.
The Marblism Partner Network.
A potential client sends one sentence. Our leadership team needs help with client onboarding. Can you send pricing? Then the message sits there, not because you do not want the work, but because a responsible answer means discovering the real need, estimating the effort, writing the proposal, checking the agreement, and remembering to follow up before the opportunity goes cold. That is the hidden cost of a vague inquiry.
I would answer before I had every detail. Thanks for reaching out. I can help get this to the right person. Before I send pricing, may I ask what the workshop needs to change?
Wait, so you would not send the package list immediately?
Not if the request is still 3 words deep. I want permission to ask a few useful questions, not permission to make the prospect complete an obstacle course.
Exactly. Welcome to the Marblism effect, the show that helps entrepreneurs, creators, consultants, and small business owners use Marblism AI agents in real business situations. I'm Eva Marble, your host. Today, we are following one inquiry from first contact to a confident next step, and you are going to hear the agents actually handwork to one another. Rachel will capture the inquiry. Stan will test whether it is a fit. Eva, our executive assistant agent, will organize the moving parts.
And I will try to keep everyone from discussing the same missing detail in 6 different places.
Penny and Sonny will show what happens when the same client question becomes useful content. Linda will examine the proposal and agreement, and I will keep asking the slightly annoying question, what has actually been approved?
The slightly annoying questions are usually where the useful content begins. If one prospect asks, what does a client onboarding improvement project actually include? There are probably 20 more people searching for the same answer.
Good. But let's stay with the one inquiry first. The consultancy has a workshop in 3 weeks. Their onboarding process is inconsistent, but they have not decided whether they need an audit, a workshop, or ongoing support. Rachel, what do you record before anyone starts drafting?
I would create a short intake record, the requested outcome, the audience, the deadline, the current process, the visible pain point, and the decision process. I would write what we know and what we do not know. For this inquiry, the record might say, leadership workshop in 3 weeks, inconsistent onboarding, desired result not yet defined, format undecided, client wants pricing before a discovery call.
That last line matters. They want pricing before a discovery call, which is not necessarily a refusal to talk. It may mean they are comparing options, or it may mean the deadline is tight. I would ask who approves the purchase, what the workshop must accomplish, and what happens if nothing changes before that workshop.
So the buying signal is the deadline, and the risk is that the desired result is still fuzzy.
Right. I would recommend a discovery call this week, not a giant proposal today. The next action is specific. Confirm the problem, the participants, the decision maker, and the definition of success. If it is not a fit, we should know that before spending a day polishing a document.
And the client can feel that difference. They are being guided, not cornered.
I've already organized the next step. Send the acknowledgement today, request the missing answers, schedule the discovery call, and assign an owner for the proposal decision. I would also preserve the unanswered questions, rather than letting them vanish into a notes field nobody opens.
That sounds almost too tidy. What happens when the owner says, just make it sound good?
Then I would ask what good is supposed to promise. A polished document can still rest on a bad assumption about access, responsibilities, timing, data, or the definition of done. Connected does not mean automatic.
I'm not sure I buy that as a criticism if the workflow is designed well.
The workflow can be excellent, and the input can still be incomplete. That is the distinction. For example, Who supplies the current onboarding materials and by what date? If nobody answers that, the proposal should not quietly assume the consultancy already has everything.
Fair correction. The system can organize uncertainty. It cannot responsibly pretend the uncertainty is gone.
Exactly. I translated the legal language into plain English, but that helps people understand a document. It does not replace qualified legal advice or the owner's decision about what the business is willing to promise.
Here's your priority list. Confirm the outcome, approve the scope, identify client responsibilities, prepare the draft, review the agreement, and schedule follow-up. I can organize each task and deadline. I cannot decide whether the promise is realistic.
Once the discovery call is complete, I can use the repeated questions without copying the proposal. Suppose 3 prospects ask what onboarding improvement includes. I might create an article explaining the difference between an audit, a workshop, and implementation support.
That is helpful only if it does not become a disguised sales pitch.
Agreed. I write for search and for trust. The article should answer the question clearly, explain trade-offs, and show when each option makes sense. Good content should do more than fill space. It should help a future client arrive better prepared.
And I would not turn that into a post saying, "Our revolutionary system transforms onboarding forever." That sentence has already worn out its welcome. Thank you. I was about to revoke the word revolutionary.
I would adapt the real insight instead. Before you price an onboarding project, define what success looks like, who owns the materials, and what the workshop must change. That is useful on social media because it sounds like advice, not a billboard.
And it keeps the client situation at the center instead of making every channel talk about the software.
After the call, the recommendation becomes clearer. 1 preparation session, 1 facilitated leadership workshop, a written improvement plan, and a follow-up review. Ongoing implementation support is a separate option, not something we quietly slip into the first promise.
That separation is important. The proposal should state what is included, what the client provides, what is excluded, how revisions work, how payment is handled, and what happens if the timeline changes. Here's the clause that matters most. The client must be able to tell what they are approving now and what would require a later agreement.
Let's make the artifact audible. Linda, what is one assumption you would flag in the draft?
I would flag, the client will provide current onboarding materials at least 5 business days before the preparation session. If that is not realistic, the owner needs to change the timeline or change the promise. This deserves a closer look before anyone sends it.
I would then assign that approval to the owner, not mark it complete because a draft exists. After approval, I would schedule the send, record the version, and create a follow-up for 3 business days later.
And if the client says the timing is not right, that is still information. I would update the record, ask whether a later date is useful, and make the follow-up respectful. No chasing someone through 5 channels because a reminder said so.
Yes, follow-up should respond to context. If they are waiting for leadership approval, send the approved summary. If the scope is unclear, offer 1 focused question. If the project is postponed, set a future checkpoint. Pressure is not a strategy. Relevance is.
So the full handoff is visible. Rachel captures the inquiry, Stan identifies fit and the next conversation, the owner approves the scope and price, Linda surfaces document questions, Eva organizes the work, Penny answers the recurring questions, and Sonny carries the useful idea into public conversation.
That is a system, not 7 agents waving from separate tabs.
And the owner still gets the final vote. That part is not a bug.
It is the safeguard. The owner approves the scope, price, commitments, tone, sensitive information, and final send. Automation can prepare material. It should not quietly make the business decision.
And the content should stay honest about that process. The strongest educational piece may simply explain how to prepare for a proposal conversation. I turned that topic into traffic, but more importantly, I turned it into a better informed buyer.
That is a useful partner story too. You are not selling a mysterious bundle of AI features. You are helping a business identify a specific bottleneck: intake, qualification, scope, document review, content, visibility, or follow-up. Then you show the agent that supports that work and explain where human approval stays.
A smaller workflow that people actually use is better than an impressive system nobody maintains.
Here is the line to remember. A proposal should expose uncertainty before it promises outcomes. Capture the inquiry, clarify the need, compose the response, check the scope and agreement, then continue the conversation with timely follow-up.
That makes the next step clearer for both sides.
Thanks for listening to Marvelous Partner Network. Subscribe for more practical episodes on Marvelous AI agents, business workflows, and responsible growth. Explore Marvelous and the partner opportunity through my link in the show notes. Then start with the bottleneck that is costing you the most time. Marblism, where your AI agents do the office work so you can do the customer work.
The Marblism Partner Network, where